when it gets really cold, the deer will bed right next to their feeding areas. Makes it a little bit tricky because you can't get in and out of there without spooking them because they're bedded so close. They do that to conserve energy, you know, for traveling back and forth. But hopefully that's not the case, because I wouldn't want to get up in here and find deer bedded all around this thing. Looks like a cattle feedlot since we've been gone, only 2 days, and they've just completely torn this up. I mean, most of these tracks are fresh, and it did snow last night, so a lot of them were probably after midnight or else this morning. Straw. Still good. Yeah. We've got the windows closed, but we don't have them latched. So we're trying to let just a little bit of air circulate through this blind so these windows don't just immediately condense with the water vapor from our breath. It's bad. Just trying to keep these windows open so we can look out and film out is pretty tough when you close them all the way. But leaving them cracked like that, it does create the opportunity for the deer to maybe smell you. But so far these are acting completely comfortable. That's the battle when you've got lots of deer close by. This time of the season when they're so spooky, they're always looking for something to run from. And you know, they pick up any bit of human odor and they're going to be gone. We've got the drone with, so at the end of legal shooting time, if we've got deer around, we're going to fire that little bitty drone out or up and hold it out the window and fly it off and chase the deer away with that. We are probably 20 minutes away from the end of legal shooting time now. I'm not going to rule out more stuff coming in. They've been in just kind of a constant flow of deer through here. But I'm not going to come back again. I'm going to go ahead and close the episode right here. I'm not going to hunt for a couple more days. I've got a consulting trip on Thursday, and then probably Friday I'll be back. You know, it's supposed to be warming up quite a bit. Maybe we can get back up on top of the ridge if some of the snow melts. You know, where we can get up there decent with that four-wheeler. That's the big picture plan. Maybe we can get Jordan to come out since it's not 50 below zero and do a little filming too. So hopefully in a few days after the farm has rested some, we can get more action around these food sources. I need more spots to hunt. Late season's really tough if you don't have a spot to sit, you know, with food. And right now we've really only got 2 spots, and I'd say we've about mostly worn this one out. So we'll see you back here in a few days. Yeah. Beautiful. Those were my fingers.
I can tell.
Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Day 6 Arrows, Code of Silence Apparel, Fuse Accessories, and Hoyt. Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. Today's the 30th of December. We're going to go back to that same blind in the valley that we hunted on the 26th. One of the things we've been struggling with is having only 2 good spots on this farm. We're kind of overhunting the one. We hunted the one up on the ridge, and then the snow came, we couldn't get back there. That should open up again for tomorrow, but for tonight we're going back to the one we hunted Monday. And the whole point here now is more, this late season hunting is not so much about saturating the farm or the property with your time. It's more about picking your punches. Less is more. You don't want to hunt a lot, you just want to pick those perfect times to go. So we're going to see, if that 4-day layoff makes a difference. It was getting worse every time we hunted it. The first time we went in, it was good. Second time worse, third time worse. We did chase the deer off with the drone last time. Actually, the first time and the third time we ran the deer out with the drone at the end of legal shooting time. So we're going to try that again tonight. We'll kind of focus on that a little bit more and show you that process of what we're doing there. I did check with the game warden, and that is legal. The old drone, the old electric crow coming buzzing out of the blind. It's kind of weird, but it does scare them. I'll say that. So that's the plan. Should be a lot of fun to see how much that 4-day layoff, how much difference that made. And then if we don't kill tonight, we'll have a lot of fun going back to that ridge tomorrow. We didn't go very far at all from the buildings. I could throw a football almost as far as we drove. Got to thinking about that. We might just be driving too close, especially on this crunchy snow. Got a half an hour left. And I don't have to worry about flying any drones or whether or not this hunt was better than last hunt, because we've got no basis for comparison right now. Not a single deer has come out. And I know it's not because we spooked them coming in. It was kind of loud coming in, granted, crunching on that frozen snow. But I don't think the deer bedded up on those ridges could have heard that. I really don't, maybe, but the deer would come from further away than just right there anyway. We had a couple turkeys come in, and that's been it. Not to say that in this last half hour we won't get flooded with deer, but it's been really slow so far. One thing I wanted to mention, as you look at this layout, I made a pretty good mistake in hindsight of where I put this blind.
I really needed to stay on the downwind, the down valley end of this plot. It would have been a lot easier to access it from that direction, just popping right in without having to come way up this valley and potentially have the deer see me or hear me, and that would shy them away. But also, the wind would be easier to manage because there'd be less deer that would get downwind. We're just right in the middle of the plot, really. And next year we definitely need to do it differently. I think it would be a lot easier to hunt this too if it was corn, because then the coming and going would be a lot easier because we could hide behind the corn stalks, when we're going in and out. Standing corn is always really easy to hunt behind. The deer just don't see you moving through it. And obviously they're attracted to it, for the food. So it's a good food source. Next year, this plot will be in corn, and this blind will be on the lower end. And then we'll still hunt that scrape tree. It's a cool spot. But when it comes to this late season hunting, when we get into hunting the blinds, we'll be on the very lower end of this plot. So if anything comes out in this next half hour, we'll break and show it to you, or pop back in, and then maybe we'll show you flying that drone around outside the blind. We don't have to worry about sneaking out of here without spooking anything if there's nothing here. I think the reason that we didn't see anything tonight was just how still it is. It is completely dead calm out here. And in my experience in this area, when it's this calm, the deer don't move. They just wait until dark, and then they'll move after dark. I think it's more like sensory overload or something. They can hear everything, so they just stand there listening. But yeah, it's completely dead calm. It's one of the worst nights of hunting I've ever had in the late season. And it should have been good. I mean, there's enough food here, lots of sign, lots of deer have been using it. I just think it's these super still conditions that did us in tonight. We made it to the top. Ethan is still recovering from his fall. Hopefully we don't have to go to the emergency room and do a hysterectomy. Is that what they do for guys like you?
I'm like a cat. I just land on my feet.
It looked like your feet. I didn't see any feet on that one. So we got the drone still hovering. We're gonna fly that out real quick and show you where we're going over here. I'm sure you've seen it a few times if you've been watching the show, but go ahead, Ethan, and fly that down there. How much battery we got left?
50%.
50%. We got a while. Yeah, that was an interesting ride coming up there. It was just frozen enough we could get through there with the four-wheeler. We have definitely been struggling these last few days, and really the whole late season, more or less. We've had 2 decent hunts. First one up here, and then the first one down there in the valley. And we just don't have enough good spots. I've already mentioned that a few times. I've only got 2 decent spots on the farm where there's any kind of late season food. So we've been over hunting these. This one though, we haven't touched in 10 days. And this could be a good hunt then. We got this storm, not much of a storm, just some snow. But maybe it'll get the deer thinking about food at least. And we'll talk some more when we get to the blind. But you know, having more options, not having to hunt these spots nearly as much as we have would be a definite bonus. It's tough during the late season to begin with, and then if you're hunting a lot of days in one spot, you're going to burn it out really fast. So that's the takeaway. Less is more. We may have turned this farm into one of the worst farms in Iowa with the amount of pressure we put on these 2 spots. So let's go see what comes out here. Hopefully you don't fall heading over there. Can't afford to pay the medical bill of keeping you on staff.
Yeah.
We've got our standard 30 minutes to go, and we did see a bunch of young bucks, but we were filming with the front window open. The wind is kind of cutting across, angling a little bit behind the blind toward the pasture, but one of them got back there and smelled us and busted out, and then the rest of them ran out. I think there was 9 of them. And I think they might have all been 1.5-year-old bucks. There might have been 1 2-year-old in there, but no mature bucks at all to speak of. So we're kind of back to the same question. Is this the worst farm in Iowa? I don't think it's the worst farm, but certainly isn't the best one. I need to do some work here, and it needs some time. I don't think, other than overhunting that bottom field, we couldn't have done a whole lot differently in this late season than what we did. The older age class bucks just aren't here. The trail cameras showed that too. Having more food will definitely help, especially if I can spread the deer out during the late season. I'll make the late season a lot easier to hunt, because we won't have to hunt the same spots as often. So that's a big step that I need to take for next year. I'm going to keep making improvements to the habitat. Obviously, every year, these young bucks are going to get a year older, so that'll help. The cows are coming off this part of the farm that we're on right now. They've been here for who knows how long, maybe a couple generations. In this situation, it's just going to be easier to not have cows here, let the habitat recover, have more food out in these pasture areas. So that's pretty much the prescription, I think, for making this better. We're gonna hunt again this coming week. Today is New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year's. We appreciate your support for Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And I don't see anything out there right now. We closed the windows, so now we're starting to fog back up again on the windows with the condensation from our breath. But we'll call it quits right here, and if anything else does come in, we'll show it to you. But otherwise, we appreciate you joining us this week, and we'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always
Dream big.